What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? So today I'm headed over to Dax. He's the suspension guy that did my 959 Corsa, but I'm getting the suspension tuned on the new R6 because it is stiff. When I'm riding this bike, I get bounced around all the time, and Dax is going to help me out with that. So I got my appointment set up with him. But today is going to be another petrol powered day, a 100 octane petrol powered day, in fact, because I am meeting up with a gentleman named Chris, and Chris happens to be the guy who bought my F900R, and he's got a collection of motorcycles, and one of them happens to be the Daytona 675R. So I'm going to be meeting up with him afterwards and going on some cool rides and testing out the bike for you guys. So I'm really looking forward to that. Join us for the ride. So hopefully after I get the suspension tuned, I can go head up towards Palomar Mountain, test it out a little bit, and let you guys know what I think, if it's helped out or not. The issues that I'm having with right now is the dampening and the rebound. For some reason, whenever I hit a bump, I get bounced around all the time. And you know, this road right now that I'm riding in seems to be pretty smooth, but I do feel every single little bump, and I want that to be resolved. This motorcycle is going to be primarily ridden on the street. It's not going to be a track bike that much. I prefer if the suspension is more street friendly than track focused. But if I ever need to adjust it at the track, I can always do that because there's always a suspension guy there. So that's something I can worry about when I get to it. The entrance to Dax's place is on an off-road area. So the R6 is going to go off-roading now. Oh yeah, off-roading on the R6. I'm no stranger to off-roading. I've done SoCal Supermoto. If you guys seen that video, the motorcycle has regular street tires, but then I go on the dirt and it's really slick. I do big jumps and everything. It's a lot of fun. So that kind of stuff gets you prepared for times like this where you don't feel like it's too sketchy. It's still sketchy, but you feel comfortable doing it. If you haven't seen that video, make sure to go check it out. Ah, nice. No one's here. Nice. I'm the first one. How goes it, my man? Last time I saw you... Oh, okay. You know what? There you go. This is the first handshake I've given in months. It feels good, man.
I like that color.
Yeah, I'm ready for Halloween.
I've not seen that color.
Brand new for 2020.
I was gonna say that's an OEM option.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
The bike is very, very stiff for me.
Stiff in the front end, and it's fast in the back. In the back.
It's what?
Fast. It's rebounding really quickly.
The suspension is super stiff. Whenever I sit on it and I go over a little bump, it kind of throws me around.
That's the fast time.
Yeah, whenever I'm riding the bike.
The front end probably feels pretty harsh.
If you look at the what you call it, you see
Like
where
the dust line.
You see where the dust line is? Does it show?
Maybe.
Hopefully it's not cleaned out because I cleaned the bike, but the dust line is pretty high up.
Yeah, I did push on it too.
Oh, that's why.
I'm still 200 pounds. So.
Oh, that's why. Okay, yeah. So the dust line was literally it's like up here.
I can still see it right there.
Yeah. So we want to get that down here, right?
Yeah, we want to use the fork.
Yeah. We want to use it So those are the issues I'm having with the bike.
Put on my measuring devices and get to measuring. Highly technical measuring device.
So ideally, what's a good front measurement and a rear measurement?
I use 35 millimeters of sag in the front end and about 30 millimeters in the rear. It's also going to be based on the input from the rider and how they want their ride quality.
For street use, what would you recommend?
I'm going to start around 30, 32. For tracks, I start, at least in the rear. For the track, I usually start about 30, 28, kind of in that range. And then adjust based on rider input.
Gotcha.
Okay, so without further ado, let's hop on and get to measuring.
Okie doke.
Okay, so do me a favor, kind of stand up on the pegs with your hands on the bars, and let's push the whole bike up and down through the stroke a few times, and then just settle into your normal riding position. Hold what you got.
Take what your mama gave you.
Okay, you can hop off.
And the purpose of that is to find out where we are at the moment?
Exactly.
Okay.
So what we're doing, what those measurements were basically finding out where you rest in the suspension stroke just by sitting on the bike. So we did a rider measurement, right? Rider on the bike.
Yeah. That's where I was?
Yep.
Jeez, that's so stiff.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Now you guys know what I was talking about when I was coming over here.
And then the next step is going to be for us to completely lift the suspension off the ground so it tops out. And then the measurement from topped out to where you were is what's called rider sag. And then we'll adjust from there to get to the desired number. Okay, so I'm actually going to need your assistance.
Okay. From the front or back?
If you come over here with the kickstand, and then just grab this handlebar.
Oh, pull it up like
Pull back
last time?
towards your body. The front wheel will come up like so.
All right, so from here and here?
Yep, and then just pull back towards your body, and I'll help lift the front end up too. Okay, you got it?
Got it.
All right. 33. It's not too bad.
That's what we said on the 959, but whenever I went back home, it was still super stiff.
Yeah. So your position in the stroke, right, relative to where the spring is, with how much tension is on the actual spring, is not far off. So that just leads me to believe that what you're feeling in the harsh stiffness is coming mostly from the damping settings and how the hydraulics are working. Okay, so let's do the rear now. Again, just come over here with the kickstand, kind of put your foot on it, and you can grab it from the passenger peg and lift up. This one will probably be a little easier. Rear tire will come off the ground. I'll measure that one too.
Okay.
47. Okay. Front end not so bad. Rear end a little firm.
Just a tad.
Yeah. So as it stands right now, you're too shallow in the stroke, right? Meaning that the rear end suspension is holding it too high in the stroke just to begin with, which means that there's too much tension on the spring. Too much tension on the spring, so I'm going to unscrew it and take some of the tension off the spring. Lots of different kind of adjusters out there. Yours happens to be a screw type, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to unscrew it and take some tension off. Others are ramp style adjusters where it just ramps up, right? Mm-hmm. So then you would ramp it down. And then a lot of the higher end stuff aftermarket stuff come with hydraulic preload adjusters, where you basically just turn a knob and it puts tension on or takes tension off. Up on again, let's see what our change measures to.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Normal riding position. Your hands on the bars. There we go. Doesn't seem like much, but it does change it a few millimeters. And every millimeter matters. 16. Okay. Which is the difference of 6 millimeters. That's much better.
6 millimeters. Yeah, that's. I felt it as soon as I sat down. Before, whenever I sat, there was no sag.
Mm-hmm.
So 6. So that means it was like 37.
No, it's actually smaller. So the smaller the sag number, the tighter, stiffer it is, right? And you were at 26.
Oh wow, 26.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be 32 back there, or 30?
Yeah, 32 is what I'm aiming for.
Okay, if you can make it 32, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. It's right where it's at, 31 and a half.
My booty will appreciate it.
Yes, it will.
This is going to be the thumbnail photo.
See where we're at. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
And what is this right here that you're doing?
So I'm measuring where the compression adjuster was, right? So you were 14 clicks away from max, which is going to be too stiff for you. So I'm actually going to back it out probably another 8 and then refeel it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is where we were. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 is where we're going to feel it. Make the other side match. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Much softer. The rebound stroke doesn't feel bad. I'm just going to measure and see where it's at. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 7. Of all the thousands of bikes that I've worked on, I've probably only seen maybe 2 that the person was pretty happy the way that it set. So super rare. Everybody should get their suspension adjusted. So when I give my riders meetings in the morning at a racetrack, I like to tell folks that I use an analogy, right? Have you ever rented a car or borrowed a car from a friend? Odds are that answer's yes. What's the first thing you do when you get in that car, right?
Adjust
the mirrors, you adjust the seat, you adjust the steering wheel, right? Your motorcycle's no different. This thing was not set for you, right? So adjust it. It'll be much better.
God damn it, just adjust it. So bring it to Dax and adjust it, god damn it.
Yeah, that's much better.
So I see that this thing went lower, but it's still not where it was on my other bike. Does that matter at all, or that's going to change whenever I ride it on the street?
It's going to change when you ride it.
Okay.
It already feels much more compliant, you know, given with how you want it to behave versus where it was.
By the way, just so you know, the bike ride's fantastic.
Yeah.
It corners amazing. The steering is super light. I have no problems riding the bike. It's just the comfort aspect is what bothers me. So you know you have questions on your site like how does the bike turn? Does it feel heavy in the turns, etc., etc.? None of that. It's perfect as is.
My guess was, just based on the sag numbers alone, it was probably oversteering a little bit.
You think so?
Yeah, because the rear end was holding you way high, and the front end wasn't far off from where it needed to be, so it was really on its nose, probably wanting it to oversteer. So initial turn into a corner is really easy and effortless.
Easy.
But the farther in lean angle you get, the heavier the bars would become. Because now the bike wants to keep going into a corner and now you're having to hold the bike up. So this is the rebound adjuster down at the bottom there. That controls the speed at which the suspension returns to the top of the stroke.
Yeah, that's a lot slower than before.
That's much better. Much better. And then on your bike, right, this middle one here is your low speed compression adjustment. And then the gold nut, or burnt orange nut, is your high speed compression adjustment. Now those don't have anything to do with how fast you're going, but it has everything to do with how fast the suspension is being actuated. So consider low speed actuation is like corner loading, right? As the bike goes into a corner and the G-forces load right in a slower fashion, that's going to be your low speed circuit. And then your high speed circuit is going to be more like bump absorption, right? Like hitting a road reflector or a pothole, manhole cover, whatever. Something where the suspension is jarring very quickly. That's going to run through the high speed circuit.
That looks so much better just looking at it.
Yeah, it's gonna feel better. Let's see where our high speed adjuster is. One, two, three, yeah.
They give you a lot of options with these suspensions.
Yeah. And then the more technologically advanced the suspension components become, the more options we have available. Let's check for balance. Yep. Front and rear are working in unison, which is what we want. When you brought it in here, it was unbalanced slightly. The rear end was unloading before the front end, which makes the chassis pitch back and forth, which creates instability for the rider when they ride. But now we're much more balanced. Everything's going down and coming up at the same rate. And that's what we want. And now it's going to be the fun part of you get to go and test ride it.
Sweet. Yeah, we'll do. Can I just get on it one more time?
Yeah.
And see what it feels like before I go out there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the bike, and the bike just goes down now, just a little bit. As opposed to before, it was like sitting on a park bench. Oh, yeah.
It's moving.
Okay. Nice. All right, let's go for a ride. and the steering already feels lighter. Wow, that bump is where I would have felt a lot of the pressure, but man, it's softer. I love how this bike turns in so smoothly. Man, it is so compliant. The suspension work definitely helped out a lot. But boy, is it fun to ride this bike. I can't wait to do the exhaust and a tune for it. It's gonna wake this baby up. It's already fun. Can you imagine once I do the work on it and get it lighter?